We had Payback, and then we had Raw, and now we get an idea of the WWE landscape going forward. All the superstar shake-up nonsense has calmed down. We're not going to see SmackDown guys on Raw and Raw guys on SmackDown. I don't think we saw any Raw guys on SmackDown, but still, finally, their foundations have been laid. We can move forward. I am Simon from WhatCulture, and this is Ups and Downs, where we're going to go through Raw, and the good bits are going to get an up and the bad bits are going to get a down, and you're going to be like, no, Simon, I don't agree with you, and I'm going to smile and go, it's okay, because everything's great and everything's lovely, and I love wrestling, even the bad bits, because wrestling's awesome, and other words, and I'm running out of breath, so I better stop. But enough waffle, enough talk, enough chatter. Let's get to upping those downs. Great start to Raw, all the women were in the ring, and then Alexa Bliss came down and basically had her coronation live on TV, and it was fantastic, so let's get in and up. The real highlight was, of course, Alexa Bliss, the new Raw Women's Champion, has it all really. She's good in the ring, she can talk, she's got good personality, she's got charisma. I want to see her on my TV, and the way she went round and just like tore into everybody, apart from Nia Jax, which was also very entertaining. That's a 2 thumbs up moment. On top of that, WWE didn't forget to give Bayley a little bit of a whoop-swah, because although when the cameras cut to her at first, she was a bit like, oh, I'm a 12-year-old girl and I'm sad. As soon as Alexa Bliss started running her mouth too far, Bayley was like, man, you have pushed the line and now I'm going to push you off a podium. And that led to a massive tag team match, which was okay at best, but that's not the point. Everything here made sense, everything here was good, and the champion feels like a champion. Now again, I don't think Bayley should have lost in her hometown, but as long as this feud continues like this, and it's interesting and it's entertaining, no problem at all. Something I do have a problem with, and is getting it down, is the Enzo and Cass versus Gallows and Anderson feud continues to go around and around and around, utterly aimlessly. Gallows beat Enzo after throwing him around for a few minutes, and the big question I have here is, what is the point, and where on earth is this all gonna end up? Because we've seen Gallows and Anderson beat Enzo and Cass, and we've seen Enzo and Cass beat Gallows and Anderson, and right now it just seems like, well, we'll keep fighting because we've got nothing better to do. I don't get it. And what happens at the end of all of this? Do the winners become new #1 contenders? It's not going to feel like #1 contenders, because as ever, it's been 50-50 booking where they're knocking that ball back and forth like a tennis match. I mean, keep them off TV. They don't have something concrete and good, because these are two talented mothers. You can do more than this. Come on. Sticking with the tag team division though, the Hardys versus Sheamus and Cesaro is swiftly becoming one of my favourite feuds in all of WWE. So that gets a massive up. Not only did Sheamus and Cesaro properly cement their heel turn, which by the way, I think is great. Sheamus is just better as a heel anyway, and I actually think it's quite nice to give Cesaro a new role. I know we all want to cheer him, but push him. Let him do something different, and all of a sudden, that team feels more exciting and more intriguing anyway. And the Hardy Boys, for my money, are just fantastic in this weird halfway house where Jeff is kind of the Hardy boy and Matt is the broken one, but seeing them come out and kind of run their mouth a little bit and then both go delete simultaneously, that genuinely made me happy. I felt like a kid on Christmas morning who just opened an awesome present that I wanted. I was like, this is great. And take your time. There's no rush. I don't know what's going on with the anthem stuff and who owns the gimmick and who doesn't, but the teasers right now are enough, and if it does come, awesome. Genuinely one of the biggest ups on the whole show for me at the moment, especially because the Hardy Boys have essentially kicked Sheamus and Cesaro's ass over the last few weeks, but I still want to see more. That's how well all the seeds were planted here. I'm looking forward to that flower to grow, so don't do that with your hands. Which does bring us to the Seth Rollins promo. Now, here's the thing. I like Seth Rollins. I think he's a talented worker, and I think he could be a great babyface. But please never script him again to talk like this when he comes out and sounds like a motivational speaker. That gets it down. However, I did like how the rest of this played out, so that's getting an up. Having Finn Balor come out and then having Rollins and Balor argue over who should be the #1 contender for Brock Lesnar's Universal title is really smart, because one, they can both lay claim to being that challenger, and two, Raw has finally reminded us all, and us being the fans, that yes, we do have a world champion, and it's alright he's not here at the moment, but you can talk about him. He's not a ghost, he's not an apparition, he's a real man. Mention him once in a while. And it got better still, because this led to Dean Ambrose coming out and actually being able to say, hey, remember this? I'm the IC champion. And then The Miz came out too, and we had this big blow off but it worked very well. The highlight was everybody involved came off feeling like a big deal. I understand the weird kooky Dean Ambrose character is a bit hit and miss, but I think it's quite entertaining. But ultimately, it led to a great main event at the end of the show, so this was a well done segment. And talking of that main event, absolutely brilliant, massive up. Not only did it tell us what feuds we can expect going forward, because let's face it, up to this point it had been so confusing and convoluted, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you, because I know I certainly was just sat there like, I have no idea who hates who. At one point, Bray Wyatt hated Finn Balor, but then he was beating up Dean Ambrose, and The Miz hated Dean Ambrose, but he had Finn Balor on Miz TV. It was like, I don't know what's going on. What's going on? But here, all that was laid to rest, and we now know Bray is indeed going against Finn Balor, and I like that. The Miz is indeed going against Dean Ambrose because he won the match to become #1 contender for the IC title. I like that. And the Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins program is going to continue. Have a guess what I'm going to say. Absolutely correct. I like that. It was also proof that if you want to do run-ins and lights going out and people appearing out of nowhere and interfering in matches, this is the way to do it. The match was still good. It was entertaining. That just took me on a journey like this with twists and surprises, and everything I got out of it was what I wanted. Raw finished strong. That made me feel better about the show. I also like that WWE decided to keep Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns off Raw. That's getting an up too. They explained all this by having Kurt Angle come out and basically saying, look, Reigns is well hurt, mate, and Strowman is well hurt as well. And while it is actually better to have them on Raw because they do have a certain amount of star power to them, this allowed them to sell the angle of that match. So now I feel like that match meant something, and going forward, it's going to make me feel good in my bones. I did dig that Bray Wyatt then came out to introduce himself to the new Raw GM, but at the same time I was a bit like, this is the same old Bray stuff where he's saying things, but he's actually not saying anything, and he's reborn again. I swear he's been reborn about 32,000 times. That man will never die, because he'll get to like 97 and then just go, I fancy being reborn, and he'll go, whoop, and he'll go back to the start of his life, and that'll be that. So I'm really sorry, but that's getting it down. And also, if he loses to Finn Balor, which he probably will, and I don't want Finn Balor to lose, but good grief, this is such an important time for Bray Wyatt. I thought all the Cruiserweight division on Raw was actually pretty decent, so it gets a blanket up. We had a 6-man tag with the usual suspects, which while ultimately pointless was still fun. Sometimes a match can just be fun, like while I do like storylines and being able to buy in, if you just want to have 6 talented people wrestle, alright. And the match between Austin Aries and TJ Perkins was fantastic, once again because Austin Aries is amazing. That's not taking anything away from TJ Perkins, but Austin Aries is amazing. Had a good build, had a good finish, and even though Aries won by making Perkins tap out, slowly but surely, Perkins is beginning to feel like he's on that Neville and Aries level. He's not there yet, but he's getting there. I also like the tease of animosity between Neville and his new protege TJ Perkins, because once again, it just adds these little bits that are more entertaining than just, hey, do you want to be my evil partner? Yes, Neville, I'd love to be your evil partner. Let's be bros. And yeah, I'm giving it another up, which I know makes you go, another up, I can't believe it, to Apollo Crews, because as I said last week and the week before that, I asked WWE to actually try and make something out of this Titus O'Neil program, and they are. So yeah, it's an up. It was nothing special, it was nothing out of the ordinary. Apollo Crews just had a match with Heath Slater and beat him, but this is the most featured Apollo Crews has been ever. Then Titus came in to celebrate with his new friend. While this will probably end with a Titus versus Apollo Crews match, which I don't think anybody wants to see, if you can keep going like this, maybe it'll be okay. Probably do have to give one more down to those impromptu Dean Ambrose interviews though with The Miz and Finn Balor. They weren't the best. While I get what WWE was trying to do and push this crazy, lunatic fringe Dean Ambrose character, the questions and answers he got from both were terrible, especially Finn Balor, and I love you Finn Balor, but you eat nerves. Okay. But that really is pulling at straws. They didn't take up too much time, and ultimately, it makes no difference either way. But, you know, sometimes it's just nice to throw in a down out of nowhere. Like a right hook. And that was Raw. And you know what? I thought it was one of the best damn shows WWE have done in a long time. And you want to know why? The main reason? Because that main event was so good. And the main reason for that is if Raw does go off the air strong, doesn't really matter that it's 3 hours long. It's what happens at the end, and you go away thinking, I really enjoyed that. And I do like all the feuds. I mean, The Miz versus Dean Ambrose feels a bit recycled from SmackDown, but fine. They can make it work. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt is genuinely interesting. And I like Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins and think they can do more. Happy days. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about all of this. And then like, share, and subscribe. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Follow me at SimonMiller316. And then go to WhatCulture.com to read the ups and downs articles. And you'll get different opinions because we're all humans. I am Simon from WhatCulture. And thank you for joining me for another episode of Raw Ups and Downs.
Hello, I'm King Ross. I've been asked to shield some merch, but since I don't get a cut of my own merch, I'm having nothing to do with it. So here's Hobo Joe to do it for me. Shill that merch, take this microphone.
Hi, I'm Hobo Joe, and I've got some t-shirts. So we've got a Bullet Club one. It's Bullet Club, and the Young Bucks, nice and colourful there. You can get these signed at WCPW shows by all of your favourite wrestlers, and me, but you probably don't want that.
That one now,
oh,
this one.
That's the Prestige. The World Cup, for our lovely World Cup. What else? We've got Cody Rhodes. And the last one.
Come on, I'll get help you.